Our opinions aren't too tough, rough, or gruff. We are proof that you don't have to be an expert to have an opinion. So just
Shut up and sit down.
This is Sports Stuff with Jim and Muff. This is Sports Stuff with Jim and Muff.
Let's go. It's the madness. Muff, are you feeling the madness?
I have felt the madness and feeling the madness and will continue to feel the madness.
Alex, are you feeling the madness?
I'm feeling it.
I'm feeling the madness.
I'm feeling it.
Brother. Let's go.
The madness is upon all of us. Winter has finally arrived.
Winter
Winter is
I
coming.
think about March Madness is like winter is coming, and it's like all year I wait for it, and then finally it happens.
Game of Thrones.
Game of Thrones references.
Winter. Okay, fair enough.
Madness is coming. The madness is coming. The madness is coming. The madness is here, and it's gone.
It is so quick.
It's quick. Anyway, sports are happening this week. Other things are going down. This week we have the interns coming back. Jim, I'd like you to make the similes here, or the metaphors.
The similes. You want me to use the intros that I've found?
Yeah, fair. The similes here.
The interns return like a bad case of, like a case of Kardashian outbreak in the NBA, like the Paul brothers return to suckers with money.
And there's Jim's similes for the week. There's your literary terms to toss in for the day. Quick thoughts.
Do you think the Kardashian outbreak is like a thing? A Kardashian outbreak?
I don't understand what this means.
Like to have more than one
explain it to me.
Kardashian in one association? Like, do you think like Kanye suffers from a Kardashian outbreak? He got Kim and then the momager.
I don't understand what the outbreak does to the NBA.
It turns people like into shit. Like Kanye was a great rapper. Now what? Think of all the basketball players that the Kardashians wiped out. Like
They just like pin all of them against each other because you date them all. I mean, it's like a fraternity, like a girl that goes to a fraternity house, you know?
All right. I'm just saying, like, maybe this is a thing. Maybe COVID and Kardashian could be one and the same. Who knows?
Okay. Quick thoughts will happen again this week. Somebody will win, somebody will lose. Maybe there'll be a tie. I don't know. But you can guarantee that one of us is going to lose points at some point during quick thoughts this week.
Absolutely.
Rest in peace to John Clayton, former ESPN sportscaster, newsbreaker, breaker of stories, key figure in some of the better commercials for ESPN, and also thoughts and prayers with the members of the New Mexico golf team, plus their head coach, 6 members of that team who were killed in an accident last week in Texas, vehicle accident.
T's and P's.
Apparently Muffnack is returning this week, Jim.
Yep, got some questions from Muffnack. I've called upon him. He's going to join today. I'm pretty pumped for that.
All right. Shout out to me.
Shout out to
you.
or is it just shout out to me? Shout out to me.
Shout out to me for recognizing Penn State wrestling, winning their 9th national title in 11 years and having 5 individual champions, going 5 for 5 in the finals. Shout out to me, to Penn State.
Shout out to me for Ohio State's women's hockey winning their first national title. Shout out to me for Ohio State's pistol national titles. They won 3 of those. Shout out to me for Ohio State's women making it on to the second round.
Who else won in the women's tournament this week?
I don't know. I don't care about anybody else because I'm a true fan. I don't forego my fandom like you did with North Carolina.
Shout pass.
Shout out. Shout out to Alex for putting up with the BS throughout the week. It comes in.
When was your time? I'm out here till I die.
With that being said, let's get into the show.
This is the madness, brother.
This is March Madness. John Rothstein fired up the Twitter machine over the past few weeks and has been pretty normal, putting out his normal tweets that are going on. But we've had the first and second round of the NCAA basketball tournaments happen over the past weekend. Because we record on Sundays, not all of the matchups for the Sweet 16 have been solidified, but here's who's left right now. In the West, we have a Sweet 16 matchup between Gonzaga.
Hold on. So we don't have the betting show anymore, right?
Yes, we do.
Like,
yes, we do.
We don't really have a betting show, not till later. Like, we don't do these on the regular. And I miss Alex.
We have a betting show this week.
Okay, that's great, but we don't have it on the regular.
I got you. Yes.
Okay, and I miss Alex's sound effects. So, Alex, I would like for you to have a sound effect for West, East, South, Midwest.
Okay.
Okay, so Muff, start over with it's in the West.
Those are left in the West.
Thank you.
Sweet 16 matchup, we have Gonzaga taking on Arkansas. And we also have Duke, who moves on with a win over Michigan State to take on the winner of the Notre Dame Texas Tech game. May have a winner of that before we're done recording. Next, we go to the East.
Alex, the East.
Oh, sorry. E-Town.
Okay, good.
First Sweet 16 matchup, we have North Carolina will take on UCLA. And in the second one, we have St. Peter's taking on the winner of Texas Purdue. Moving to the South. Where we'll have Michigan taking on Villanova and Houston taking on the winner of Arizona TCU. And finally, in the Midwest.
Oh, that was good.
We'll have Kansas going against Providence and the winners of Iowa State, Wisconsin, and Miami Auburn taking on each other.
Probably Iowa State. I'm watching the last 40 seconds of this game now, and Iowa State's up by 5. Cinco.
Big Ten had a big exit today.
I would just like to say that I took. Never mind. Save it for the betting show.
Save it.
Spoiler alert! In case you couldn't have guessed, I took Iowa State.
Spoiler alert. Not really spoiler alert. It's out in the Twitter sphere.
That's true. I did. I put it on the Twitter sphere. For those of you who are following my my bets this week, until today, I'm sorry. Today wasn't bad though, so I hope you stuck with me. If you stuck with me, you got a little prize today.
Yeah. So Big Ten did have the exodus over the first 2 rounds. They started with 9 teams. They now will have at most 2 teams, with Michigan having moved on and Purdue being the only other hope. Let's do a quick look here. What conference has the most? I don't even know. It's tough, Alex. Big 12 will have 2.
Let's look.
Big 12 might have 3, depending on Texas Tech.
I was going to say.
ACC has 2.
So Big 12 could be rolling. Wait, how many's the Big East? Villanova, Providence.
ACC could have 3 if Miami comes through.
Pretty even. I was gonna hate on the Big Ten, but we're pretty even here.
Yeah, there's still good reason to hate on Big Ten because they only get 2 teams through and they had 9.
Yeah, I was gonna say. Let's look at the numbers in.
All right, in the first round, going over some of the upsets. Round 1 upsets. Sound effect insert here, Alex.
Wah, wah, wah. Or however you feel.
Was that a you're out or was that a hooray?
That was like sad if you're the team that got upset and yeah, woo, the crowd goes wild. Happy.
Okay. First round upsets. We had number 12 New Mexico State over number 5 UConn.
I honestly was not happy about this one, and I'll tell you why. This is you guys inserted your Ohio State and your Penn State homer stuff. Teddy Allen was a former Mountaineer, and I watched that guy for like 5 minutes. I was like, I don't think I've hated a player more in a while. When he played at WVU, I kind of liked him. He was the showboating, like he was way too far. I mean, the officials twice had to be like, dude, Tone it down. Getting ridiculous. It was like that kid that you're playing with on the court, like at recess, and just like he's naturally more gifted than the other kids, and instead of like just winning gracefully, is like let's beat them by 50 and then like do dances in their face kind of thing. I don't know. Wasn't a fan at all. Was glad he was gone. Just try to get that off my
Neither was
chest.
Huggy Bear, apparently.
Yeah. Well, Huggy Bear wouldn't have put up with any of that crap. So
Right. Other round one upsets. We have 11 Notre Dame winning the play-in game and then going straight into a first-round upset over number 6 Alabama.
yep.
I don't know anything about Notre Dame's team this year, if I'm being honest. Either of those two teams, I don't really know anything about.
I watched and heard about a little bit about Notre Dame. I actually, in my bracket, changed it that morning because I didn't know who. So when I put the bracket in for the bracket challenge, I wanted Notre Dame over Alabama, but I wanted Alabama over Rutgers. So I had to wait and see who won that game and go in that morning and change it to Notre Dame and pay off. Big payoff.
Big payoff. We have number 15, St. Peter's over number 2, Kentucky.
The Peacocks.
This was a heartbreaker for me.
It's heartbreaking for a lot of people.
I really did not see that one coming.
But
I think after round 1 in this upset, there were only like such a small number of perfect brackets still because of the amount of people that had Kentucky beating St. Peter's, and then moving along to what St. Peter's does the second round, there's like less than 500 perfect brackets, I think.
Wow.
This game, this tournament's made me hate the transfer portal. And not that I disagree.
You're such a man on the porch.
Not that I disagree with the transfer portal. Like, I don't disagree that like it's got its good uses, but as a fan, I hate it because you have Oscar Tshiebwe at Kentucky, you have Teddy Allen at New Mexico State. All these players have changed. They were at WU, and I'm just using that as an example because it happens all over. But like, I feel like if a team like this, for example, this is why it comes up in my head. St. Peter's, good team this year. If they had an all-star stud player, they'd be in the transfer portal going to one of these big schools, and then next year one of these big schools would have another good chance at winning instead of letting St. Peter's build up and be a competitive team for a couple years. Like, I think that's what I'm saying. As a fan, I don't like it. I'm not saying I disagree with it or that I hate it in its concept. I'm saying as a fan, it takes away from seeing some of these small programs get built up and have some runs. I'm off my soapbox.
Soapbox cleared. There is a lot of chatter about what this can mean for St. Peter's moving forward as far as exposure. So, and like Florida Gulf Coast went on those runs, apparently they had a huge bump in enrollment over like the next 5-ish years, where it like doubled their enrollment. So you get some like free advertising, free promotion and stuff like that, just being in the tournament, which can be helpful to the school. So it'd be interesting to see how this impacts St. Peter's moving forward. Moving along to another upset, we had 11 Michigan over 6 Colorado State. The Rams losing to the Wolverines.
I mean, Michigan's a good team. They are a solid team, and I think that and Juwan Howard, I'm going to talk about that in Brace later, but Juwan Howard, I like him as a coach. I truly like him as a coach. I understand the whole throwing hands, but I like a coach like that. I would play for him. I wouldn't wear the maize and blue. You'd have to shoot me first, but if he would coach somewhere else, I'd play for him.
I don't think you'd be playing basketball though.
No, probably not.
Okay.
I'd be a good water boy.
There you go. From that one. Another upset, the Spiders of Richmond over the Hawkeyes of Iowa.
Probably my second worst defeat there. I was not a fan of this one. This hurt. This cut deep.
I heard a lot of the pundits say that this was a game to watch, thinking that people were overvaluing Iowa after the Big Ten championship win, and that this was an easy trip up game. I picked Iowa to win, so I wasn't following any of that advice. But there were a lot of I told you to sows whenever this went down.
Mm-hmm.
And we have Big 12. Big 12 over the SEC, Iowa State over LSU. LSU. I think I had this one. LSU coming off the coaching situation, so they were switching coaches, new coach, new interim coach at this point. There's a lot of reasons for this not to go well for LSU, and it came to fruition as many expected.
Yeah, I mean that was going to be a thing. We knew that.
Yeah. And yeah, yes.
Did the under hit? Does anybody know? Because it was under 127 and a half. Do we know the score?
No, I think it was the over.
So
I'll double check, but I think it was over.
Well, go ahead, Muff. Carry on.
Next, in an upset, but not a major upset, we had 10 Miami over 7 USC. An ACC win over the Pac-12. Getting into round 2 upsets, we have number 8 North Carolina over number 1 Baylor.
No, the under hit. LSU and Iowa State.
Hit that game. Good deal. Good deal. Round 2 upsets. UNC. That technical foul was bullshit.
Which one?
The manic technical foul. The one you're about to, I was just trying to set you up, Muff. That was all. Thank you for being a jerk.
Do you think that was my question? Do you think it was BS or do you think it was legit?
I think it was BS.
Jim thinks it was BS.
What do you think, Muff?
When did this happen?
In the morning.
In the game?
Oh.
I only watched overtime.
Okay, sorry. Second half. It really was a deflating moment. I mean, they did that and Baylor came back hard. But I guess that's what happens when you hurt one of their best players. You're not hurt, but
yeah, I was keeping up with the score and watched the overtime.
It wasn't an outrageously bad call, but I think that you could have made it a flagrant one and left him in the game.
So set this up for me. That's what I need.
Basically, he was standing with his back to the Illinois player, grabbed it. UNC player. UNC Manic standing there, rebounds the ball, has it. Baylor's guys behind him, kind of all over him. He goes to turn and elbows him across the face. The debate is, was it intentionally an elbow across the face or was he just trying to make space?
Was he clearing out? Yeah, in basketball, generally, they're trying to get away from the elbow clear outs.
This guy, it was first of all, it was a chippy game. And Baylor, this guy from Baylor, I can't remember his name. He had a good game. All credit to him, but he was all over people all night. He needed cleared out. He earned it.
It sends a message, if anything.
Yes. Even the announcers afterward were like, whether it is or isn't, like the player's never done this before, so there's no reason to vilify him as a person. It's not like he's one of those guys that constantly is getting technical fouls.
Right.
He's like, even if he was a technical foul and he didn't do it on purpose, like sometimes you're in a game and you're competitive and you're just fed up.
But there you go. It doesn't help that it went to the face.
Oh no, it definitely was. It definitely turned the tide of that game though, because I was like, oh, this sucks. I was like, that guy's gonna feel this for the rest of his life. Get that technical, and then Baylor creeps back and knocks him out, but they held on.
Tar Heels victorious. And we have St. Peter's coming back again with a win over the Racers of Murray State, 15 over 7. This was the path that Kentucky had laid to them, and St. Peter's takes advantage of this with the win, making it to the Sweet 16. St. Peter's makes it to the Sweet 16. And lastly, currently in the second round upsets, we have 11 Michigan over 3 Tennessee.
Yeah, watch out for Michigan, I'm telling you.
Michigan from just barely squeaking in to the Sweet 16.
So I have a question. This is Coach K's last year? This is more directed at what?
You gonna say it's rigged already?
Well, I was just gonna bring this up to Jim and see what he thought, because you're the kind of it's rigged guy.
Yeah.
Duke and UNC could play in the Final Four if they both win in the Elite Eight. Now UNC has 2 more games to get there. But do you think that's why UNC is upsetting all these teams, Mr. Conspiracy Theorist Jim?
I mean, maybe. I'm not gonna say that's what it is until we get there.
Okay. I don't think that's it. I think UNC is just a better team than I think they're just coming along. But I just thought about that the other day and thought about you. And it was kind of been brought it up yet.
There is the feeling that wherever next weekend's games are for Duke, that it's more of home cooking than it would be otherwise, I think. Where do they play?
I'm not sure.
There was definitely some conversation when this came out that Duke had more of a home advantage moving through the bracket than like even Gonzaga did as the number 1 overall seed.
Yeah.
So there's definitely that conspiracy that was already out there.
Huh. Yeah.
As far as some other interesting moments from the first couple of rounds, in round 1, we had an Indiana cheerleader soar high to get a stuck ball during a stop timeout. I know what do they call these things? A lift?
Yeah.
A lift. Where the cheerleader was lifted up to get the ball, where they would typically, find like a large broomstick handle, and you'd see, I don't know, people try to jump up and get it and it wouldn't do it, and finally one of the players comes over and gets it done. This time we just went straight for the cheerleader. Got the ball.
Yeah, go cheerleaders. Good thinking. It was weirdly stuck where it was like not where you usually get it stuck between like the rim and the backboard. It was up top, like in the bracket of the backboard and the backboard itself. So needed 2 people. It was a 2-man job.
It was a 2-person job. Sister Jean did not hang on.
She did not hang on. We'd eat that crow.
Sloopy did.
Sloopy did not, because Sloopy exited in the next round.
Hey, but Sloopy.
But they hung on past Sister Jean.
Hey, listen,
Sister Jean
I don't know how you feel.
Rough.
Yeah, Chris Holtman had a little meet and greet with Sister Jean after the game. Jim, how you feel about that?
Chris Holtman is a good boy. No, I tell you what, if you want my honest to God opinion about Chris Holtman, I don't know how I feel about him. The jury is out for me and him. He doesn't have that level of intensity that I would like as a coach. He produces results, but like he doesn't have that drive when he talks. I'm not that big of a fan yet.
Breaking news: Iowa State knocks off Wisconsin officially.
All right.
So we got that going on, which is nice. Coach K still alive on his retirement tour. It was my team in his post-game presser today after Duke beat Michigan State. Just have to toss that out there because it's another reason for me not to like Coach K. It was not the team; it was my team.
I think you're.
But then today he was maybe it wasn't him that was talking about how the players did it and all credit to the players and they had guts. That was the same press conference, Muff.
Yeah,
or not press conference,
like
but interview.
Picking the fly shit out of the pepper, as my wife says.
He called it his team, my team. I didn't hear anything about that.
I think maybe he was saying like, yeah, man, this is my team. Like, it's my team. Like a good thing. Like he's proud of them. He's claiming that.
Anyway, hey, let's let my narrative continue. Michigan coach Juwan Howard with an embrace of Tennessee's Kennedy Chandler after the Wolverines upset the Vols. Many are calling for this to go just as viral as the slap fighting incident.
I agree. I mean, you want to see me come out real strong on this one, but I agree. I get he was a slap fighting, punching, but like the man cares about the sport. The man cares about the players playing the sport. I agree with that stance. I am that guy.
Did you hear what Chandler said about it after they like asked him about what he said? And I guess apparently that Chandler had played basketball with Juwan Howard's son growing up.
No,
so he's like, I know him and I respect him. And he's like, he just like see that I was upset. So he took a minute to tell me how I like played my heart out and like keep working and all that stuff. I was like, good guy.
He's a player's coach, man.
This was a positive. You had the haters coming out and saying, "Oh, he's trying to get Kennedy Chandler through the transfer portal now." Blah blah blah.
Oh.
Kennedy Chandler is most likely going to the NBA from all reports that I'm hearing right now. So everybody that's saying that can stick it right up their patoot.
Muff with that dirty language.
Wow. Let's
Stick it
move on.
right
Let's
there.
move
Hey,
on.
better stick that up there than other things, Alex.
True.
Illinois.
I think we need to clarify something. Let's be real clear. Let's back.
That was
this
not
up.
directed at me.
Let's be. Alex, the medical degenerate, has to deal with many things that get stuck in things. Okay. Muff is not casting judgment on anyone who may or may not. All Muff is saying is
And it was most definitely not specifically directed at me, just for our listeners.
It's very,
Right,
very,
let's
very
just-
general comment here.
general comment at Alex saying, isn't it better the figurative language rather than things that make it stuck up there? Move on.
All right, I put this one in here. Did anyone see the technical foul get called on the dunk in the Illinois game?
I read about it, and that is also dumb.
It was BS. That one was super BS. I mean, if the kid would have let go, he would have either flung into the second row or smashed his face into the backboard. He didn't swing more than once. He swung with the momentum out, and when he came back, he let go. And they teed him up, and it like turned the whole game. It was one of those momentum shifters, and
Yeah.
Illinois was down.
lost.
Hate to see it. I hate to see something like that affect the flow of the game. Like instead of it was the opposite way. Like the momentum was climbing for Illinois, and then they just got It was bad. Bad call. I also put this one in here. Has anyone seen or heard about St. Peter's Doug Eddert's mustache?
I know it
No.
exists.
His friends all told him that it makes him look tougher, so he's been growing it out.
Okay.
I hope that my girlfriend listens to this because she keeps telling me I'm not allowed to have a mustache, but I think it would make me look really tough.
I shaved mine off, so I can't agree with you.
Oh yeah, that's true.
Like you don't look tough anymore, Jim.
No,
In women's action, South Carolina allowed the fewest points in NCAA tourney history, only yielding 4 points to 16 seed Howard en route to their 79-21 first round matchup win. This, Jim, is how you use Twitter to get a point across. Thank you, basketball guru Rachel, who brought this to the attention. So, Jim, if you'd like to bring other things of attention from Ohio
would.
State or other sports, then why don't you use Twitter?
So some upsets that happened in the women's league.
I can read a bracket too, Jim.
Jim, please go on with the upsets.
Why didn't you, Muff? Why didn't you? Princeton, number 11 Princeton beat Kentucky
Boys.
in the first round. What do you mean, boys, Muff? Or Alex?
I could tell it was going to get a little feisty there for a minute.
Thank
Keep
you.
going.
Good grief. All right. You got me so rattled, Muff. I'm mad at you.
Which round are we in the women's tournament, Jim?
That
Which
was the
day?
first round.
How
We're
many
in the
more days?
second round.
We're not in the second round yet. Not all the first round games have been played.
Which ones haven't been played, Muff?
As a joke. Just wanted to see if you were really paying
Okay,
attention or not.
get off my ass, Muff. You're wrong now. Florida's team beat Virginia Tech.
Which Florida team?
I don't know. I don't know which one it is. But even if that was a men's team, I wouldn't know what it is. Number 11, Villanova beat BYU, number 6. That was cool. South Dakota beat Old Miss. That's South Dakota's number 10. Old Miss was 7. Crichton, number 10, beat Colorado, number 7. And that's it for the that's it for the upset.
Florida Gulf Coast. Is that who you're talking about?
There we
Got
go.
it.
Florida Gulf Coast. And them's the upsets for the women's side
For now.
for now. I think for the whole thing, frankly. I think I'm calling number 1 to make it a long way.
Did you get the South Dakota game?
Yeah.
Nice. Well, Jim, we'll look forward to your recap next week of the women's tournament.
Are you going to recap it? Because we know you're not. You jerk.
No, I've already said I am not going to recap it, but I bring things to light that come to my attention, and that came to light for South Carolina. Thank you, basketball guru Rachel.
Okay. Let's move on before me and Muff start fighting.
And that's the March Madness and the basketball recap, including Jim's very, very, very cursory women's basketball
you had
recap.
the same cursory recap, you jerk.
This is the off season. Was no one going to say anything? We didn't talk about it beforehand. So you're going to start that segment.
That's the tradition. All right, so
every segment.
every segment's what we
Usually it's not that long though. Like that one was a long one, so I had to jump in. Sorry.
All right, so the off season and what has transpired, almost taking away from March Madness, becoming its own.
No.
Oh, I mean, it came close.
Okay, so if you're like Jim and don't really like basketball, the offseason came close to taking away.
There were literal pundits on ESPN highlighting that this may have taken away some of the hype from March Madness. So get off me, Muff.
I'm glad that they're on Roger Goodell's payroll. Continue with the joke.
Anyway, so from the 15th to today, the 20th, here are some of the highlights that have happened. Some of them are on here because I would like to talk about them. Some of them are on here because I want to see Muff's reaction and Alex's reaction. So here we go. 49ers restructure Kittle's deal and Armstead's deal. I can't find out any other reason why they're restructuring deals.
Mostert got signed. Raheem Mostert, running back, got re-signed with them.
So that's why they restructured everybody else's deal?
I think it helped.
It created $18.756 million in 2022 cap space.
Right. Okay. Not necessarily for probably a huge signing, but it's probably to have a few signings here and there.
So it basically says here on NinersNation.com that Kittle's contract was restructured to convert $10.415 million of salary into a signing bonus. And they added one void year in the end, which ended up freeing up $8.33 million. I don't understand any of this cap space stuff, just to be completely honest. I have to look it up every single time to see exactly what they're trying to talk about.
It's all legal mumbo jumbo. They kick the can down the road, and sooner or later, they have to pay all the money.
Yes.
Got it. Buccaneers bring back Perriman. Smart move on their part, I think.
Yeah, I like him.
Jaguars sign cornerback Darius Williams from the Rams for 3 years, $39 million, with 18 of that guaranteed. 1, is he worth it? 2, is this where the Jaguars need the most help, we think?
I don't even know if there's. Go ahead.
You both talk over each other.
They need defensive help.
A finger at where the Jaguars need the most help. I think it just we'll just put a hand on the team.
This is a lot of money to be spending here.
3 years, 39. That's
with 18 guaranteed.
I
guess
for a high level cornerback, that's not terrible.
I guess if you're saying we have Trevor Lawrence on offense, so at least we have an offensive weapon to start building off of.
We got to keep him upright, but we'll go on.
He's more upright than Joe Burrow.
I was just about to say.
Joe Burrow, the Cincinnati
Jim
did a
has
lot of work on that
PTSD.
end. Joe Burrow did a lot. Cincinnati, they did a lot of work in this whole 5 days since we last met.
The whole AFC North has done a lot of work.
The Browns released tight end Austin Hooper. I don't know if that was a smart move, but the Browns did a lot of funny things in this last 4 or 5 days.
Hooper's good, but they had David Njoku.
Yeah, Austin Hooper at the time signed the biggest deal in tight end history when he went to the Browns.
Mm-hmm.
So it was probably clearing cap space for him too.
Yeah. Raiders release defensive end Carl Nassib,
former Penn State player. Raiders Nation was expecting this. Again, somebody who got signed to a larger contract, and he is a specialty defensive end as far as he's more on the pass rushing. So they just wanted to get rid of that salary and make room for all the other things that they did this week.
Raiders did a lot of things. Mm-hmm. Jets bring back Joe Flacco.
Okay. I think that was an adequate response. The elite quarterback, the elite Joe Flacco.
Yeah.
I had to look up. Austin Hooper went to the Tennessee Titans.
Yeah.
I didn't know that. Sorry.
Raiders trade defensive end. Go ahead, Muff.
Nagaku
to Colts for cornerback Rock Yassin. If that's his name, he's now my favorite cornerback.
Rock, I wish it was Son, like Rock Ya Son.
That's his nickname.
Well, I love it.
Mm-hmm.
The Steelers sign a D-Train for a year. That's Dwayne Haskins for all of you. How do you guys feel about that?
That'll be a great backup to Mitchell Trubisky.
Yeah, I'm trying to figure out where you put in here that the Steelers signed Mitchell Trubisky.
Oh, I didn't put it in here.
Why is Dwayne Haskins taking precedent over Mitchell Trubisky being signed?
For this moment right here.
Two offensive linemen being signed. Them getting they're getting their special teams captain back for next year. Yet we're gonna put Dwayne Haskins into the fold.
That's the highlight of the Steelers, right?
Versus all the other stuff Muff just mentioned.
We got the D train back.
Who's we? Are you a fan now?
The Steelers, baby.
Are we? Are you a fan?
Yinzers.
Are we?
You guys
are
got
you
the
we
D
now?
Train.
Are you guys or us?
Because
you just used a we.
It's
you just
straight
used a we there.
So
I can't believe you did that one with a straight face, to be honest.
I don't care about it. G Train coming back at all. He's not gonna start.
He's gonna compete.
So is Mason Rudolph, who just broke up with his girlfriend.
All right.
Sam, aka Sam. Sam, Mason broke up with his girlfriend.
Hint, hint, wink, wink.
Hint, Sam.
Sorry, Nate. The rumors on the street at this point, this would be like on the 17th when we got this news. The Titans are planning to release Julio Jones when the June 1st deadline comes.
I believe he's already been released.
It didn't pop up. I'm just saying.
I believe it's already happened.
I'm trying to do this chronologically, Muff. Calm down. Jarvis Landry visited Atlanta. Has Jarvis Landry signed anywhere? No? Okay.
I don't think so.
I think he got released, didn't he?
Yes. He got released from the Browns.
Right.
Visiting Atlanta. The Jaguars linebacker Miles Jack signs with the Steelers. There you go, boys. There you go. The Bucks.
Hold on.
Oh, here we go.
No, you're good. Jarvis Landry hasn't gone anywhere yet.
Okay.
There's a lot of people thinking he may go to Indianapolis.
Buccaneers reach a 3-year deal with Chris Godwin. Good for them, right?
Yeah.
Coming off an injury.
Especially
at this point in the week, we had found out that the Browns were out of the Watson deal. Watson was not going there. I think this was 17th, 18th. They were not going there. The Cowboys release offensive line Lael Collins. Cincinnati picked him up today as we record the 20th. But at this point in the week, the Cowboys had released him. Baker requests a trade. He wants out of the Browns, but the Browns say no.
For now.
For now.
I was going to say, so wait a second. They're like, no, you can't go, but we're going to bring in your replacement.
Hold on. At this point, chronologically.
I forgot we're doing this.
Right. The Rams sign wide receiver Allen Robinson. The Eagles release Fletcher Cox. Eli Apple back in Cincinnati for a year.
God.
How do you feel about that, Jim?
Whatever.
He was one of the higher rated cornerbacks throughout the entire year. Just had a bad run there for a couple games in the postseason.
That's the story of Eli Apple. Okay, so right there, if you're following along chronologically, not really that big a deal. Like these are all like, okay.
Okay.
Then Devontae Adams from the Packers to the Raiders for 2 2022 draft picks, including 1 first round. Things are picking up.
Things are picking up? I think things just shot through the roof. Things are picking up. A top 3 receiver in the league leaves a team with a 2-time MVP. I think
according to you knew it was going to happen.
According to sources, there was information out there that it was known prior to the Aaron Rodgers signing that this was the most likely outcome because they were not going to be able to pay both of them to stay and still put together a team, like a good team on the field across the board. This kind of goes in the face of what Greg Jennings was saying a little bit, saying that Aaron Rodgers was selfish and always wanted to keep people around him, even at lesser deals. Aaron Rodgers and Devontae Adams are known to be good friends. So I figured these two were having a conversation and we're both at peace where things were going to amicably end here.
All right. All right. Then Watson signs with the Browns.
Jim.
I think that threw the whole thing for a loop. I think that's
You think they're that's like the twisty McTwist double flip loop.
because then and they're not going to get rid of Baker, and it gets kind of contorted then.
Are they not going to get rid of Baker?
Not, at that point, they weren't getting rid of Baker, right? Chronologically.
Mm-hmm.
So, what's going to happen with the Browns?
You have your starting quarterback, Deshaun Watson.
Juju Smith goes to Kansas City. Jameis Winston basically says, I'm going to stay in New Orleans. I don't know how he decides, like, I didn't know he was that hot a commodity that I'm going to stay there.
New Orleans doesn't have anybody else that they have not been active in this whole quarterback situation. So I think this is a lack of options or lack of ability to bring somebody else in.
Patterson's back in Atlanta. The Raiders pick up Garrett Gilbert.
Hold on. Can we move back to Atlanta for a second?
Yes, go ahead.
Where Atlanta said that they pushed Matt Ryan's contract incentive to this Tuesday, $7.5 million. It was supposed to be due last week because they wanted to be in the Deshaun Watson sweepstakes and they didn't want to pay out his contract incentive until this week when they knew that the situation was done. And they didn't get Deshaun Watson, and now they have to come calling back to Matt Ryan and be like, hey, we're sorry that we didn't want to pay you the money we were supposed to pay you, but we didn't get Deshaun Watson, so you're coming back, right? You're going to be our quarterback, and you love us, right?
All right.
Talk about some drama, because that's going to be a dramatic situation.
Yeah. And then, as I said, Garrett Gilbert to the Raiders.
Who's Garrett Gilbert?
Exactly. Matt Stafford, 4-year extension, 160. Browns trade Case Keenum to the Bills for a 6th-round pick and signed Jacoby Brissett.
There's what you're looking at right there. There's the Baker Mayfield out. That right there is Baker Mayfield out. Case Keenum gone. I believe that frees up some cap space. Jacoby Brissett probably coming in on a show him deal just to get in there, get in the building, be a viable backup for Deshaun Watson. And not mentioned for the Rams was that they released Robert Woods, who had to sit out most of the latter half of the season with a torn ACL, which is why Allen Robinson going to the Rams is a big deal.
And then if you want to finish us off there with whoever added this pro day situation.
Yeah, David Ayabo suffered a torn Achilles in his pro day for Michigan. I may have mispronounced that word. I hadn't heard anybody say it. Internet went wild for this, specifically Twitter, with issues that they saw whenever he went down with this injury, that nobody on the field went up to him even to just like give him a pat on the shoulder or anything like that. He went down and all of the coaches and all of the people running the workout just kind of like started walking around normally and then walking away from him. It wasn't like a gruesome injury. Like it wasn't like he had like a broken ankle or a compound fracture.
I would rather have either of those than a torn Achilles.
Right, but I'm saying he was like grabbing his ankle is what it looked like. And the people were tearing it apart because nobody was even going over him to ask if he was okay. They just like walked away from him. And this is a pro day. Another one of those, it sucks that somebody who's probably going to be a 1st or 2nd round pick may have just lost draft status and lifetime earnings because of an injury that happened on a pro day.
Yeah.
I'm going to backtrack a couple too and go back to Garrett Gilbert.
Yeah.
Garrett Gilbert was the guy that was on the Patriots practice squad who the Reds.
Cincinnati Reds?
Yeah, sorry, I got the Cincinnati Reds mixed up.
Wrong sport.
Sorry, the Washington football team signed.
We are Commanders. Dum, 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 dum.
Signed when all their other quarterbacks were out with COVID-19. Do you remember he came in and played like one game?
Oh, yeah. Yeah.
Yeah, and then now the Raiders signed him. So good on him.
Yeah.
Anything else, Alex?
Offseason.
No, that was it. I just wanted to bring light to who he was. I mean, they definitely lost, but he had in that game, he was 20 of 31 for 194 yards. And he didn't turn the ball over, and Washington stayed in the game until later on. So
there we go.
Well, that's the offseason. This is the interns.
You're back.
yeah.
Ooh, that's gonna be the end, Alex. Ooh, yeah, that's your line in that, right?
Got it.
Okay, now we got this figured out. For next week, we'll have this ready to go. This week we have done intern tasks revisited, redux. They're happening again, for good or for bad. We're gonna make these happen. As a reminder, we'll introduce our interns to you with a little quick intro, and then we'll identify the tasks that they were doing this week. We'll hear from each intern, and then at the end, we will present our interns' tasks for next week. Let's mix it up. Let's start with Mac this week, Alex. Let's see what Mac's got to say.
Yeah. So last week, March Madness was in our midst. We were talking about sports. Sorry. Who Mac is. Mac was our 40-something nerd who loves all things weather and fun facts. He'll work really hard for you as long as there's free coffee in the break room. So last week we sent him to talk to different athletes throughout the country in different sports and find some of the weirdest pregame traditions out there. He ended up with some pregame, some in-game traditions, etc. He picked one from each sport that he liked, and he also went old school. So there's some retired players in here because they were more fun. So what he found was that Brian Urlacher, actually, you know what? I'm going to call him in real quick and let him go through this. Hey, Mac, come on. Hey, how you guys doing today? It's Mac here. Sorry, I was in the other room watching the March Madness. I didn't know it was my turn. Glad you yelled for me. So I went around and talked to some cool cats this week. I talked to Brian Urlacher. He eats exactly 2 cookies before every game. There was also one source which added on that he also listens to Keith Urban. I didn't bring that one up around him. He's a big guy. Didn't want to touch too close. Les Miles, now this was an odd one for me. He takes a bite of the grass on the field before every game. And he also takes bites throughout if it's a stressful time. He says Tiger Field tasted best. Now, you know what, moving on. Shaquille O'Neal, Shaq, that's a big fella right there. He when he played with the Suns, he had a move he would do with his teammates before the game in the locker room, and he called it the alley Shaq. So he would make 4 or 5 of his teammates line up in a little triangle, and he'd pretend that he had a bowling ball, and you see he'd roll it into him and make them fall over like bowling pins. Now you know you're the stud of the team if you can convince a bunch of grown men to fall over like bowling pins in a locker room when you roll a ball, an imaginary ball at them. This one's for Jim here. I know he likes the NASCAR, so I looked into the NASCAR. And 2, they aren't pregame traditions really, but no NASCAR driver will ever be found with a $50 bill in the pocket. And there will never be any peanut shells. Now, I had to do a little bit of deep dive, and I'm like, why are we against peanuts? Is there a peanut allergy? What's going on here? I found out that it's considered bad luck because they used to be found in smoldering remains of badly wrecked cars. Now, my thought on this is, the guys that are eating peanuts, it just so happens that it was the cars. They were in all the cars. So it didn't matter which car wrecked. There were going to be peanut shells. But I didn't get into that with them. And the same thing with the $50 bill. Supposedly, in Joe Weatherby, in his fatal crash in 1964, they found a $50 bill in his pocket. So now it's bad luck. Not allowed to have one in your pocket when you're racing, unless you're dumb. Michael Jordan wore his UNC shorts under his Chicago Bulls shorts for good luck. Wayne Gretzky would dip his stick in baby powder. Baby powder. I think that's not the only thing he dipped in baby powder. In the MLB, they will wear gold thongs to get out of slumps. Notably, Jason Giambi and Johnny Damon, 2 that openly said that they wore the gold thong. Now, that was a weird one. I'm like, what the hell? Why are we wearing gold thongs? Well, it turns out that you start thinking more about where the thong is intruded into than you do about swinging or throwing bad pitches and all that other stuff. So you're so focused on your down there region that's being encroached upon that you stop thinking about your game performance and you do a lot better. So that's what I found out this week. There's some weird fellas out there. But Hey, teach their own. Don't yuck the yum. Okay. I'll see you all next week. Thanks, Mac. Good job on that report.
Did Mac just say don't yuck the yum?
Yeah, don't yuck someone else's yum. I taught him that. He keeps using it now.
I taught him that. All right, thanks, Mac. Next one here from my intern Kev. Kev's a 20-something jokester, willing to do whatever as long as he can channel Muffnack for some good bets here and there. Kev's task last week was to score a ticket to an NCAA regional basketball tourney site on the men's side and sit with the lower seeded team's fans, and if they win, lead a court storming and let us know how it goes. All right, Mac, let us know what you found out here, bud. Yo, I went to Indianapolis, Indiana, to the Gainbridge Fieldhouse to watch Kentucky take on St. Peter's. And let me tell you something. Those Jesuits throw a party. They know how to party hard and make it happen. I mean, they won. They beat the Wildcats. We tried to storm the court. There was this big dude who wouldn't let me do it, and it was a problem. But we tried. They didn't let us do it. But let me tell you afterwards, we partied. I had those kids from Jersey City that go to St. Peter's. They got a direct line to the Pope, right? They're Jesuit school. So all the water turns to wine, if you know what I'm saying. We was drinking and we was drinking hard, drinking it down, partying up. So hard. I had to go to confession the next day to say some Hail Marys. It's been a wild ride. St. Peter's also beat Murray State. It was that wasn't as up for that one, but we took a night out on the town again at Indianapolis, Indiana. I think I ran into Pat McAfee somewhere. He was having a few drinks. Let's just say, I think we maybe got a new fan, TBD. So that's what I got to do. I'm looking forward to my next task, and I hope it involves partying, some more partying. You know what I like to do? Give me those vodka tonics. Here we go. All right, Kev.
Thanks, Kev. That was great.
Appreciate it. I'm glad that you took your assignment very, very seriously and focused on the partying and not, the fact that you were at an NCAA potentially, historic moment with a 15/2. But I'm glad you had fun. So I'm sure we'll see where Kev's task is going to take him next week. Next, we got Jim with his guy. Jim,
my guy. A little respect on his name, sir. His name is Randy, cousin of Bernard. He loves racing. He loves to air fry food. He's a young 20-year-old, maybe 25. He lived a hard life. Okay. Last week, I told him to research some slap fighting and get us another one of his magical air fryer recipes. And he's here to tell you what he found out. So here we go. Hello, folks. How y'all doing? So Jim here asked me to look into this here slap fighting. And let me tell you what, it is an interesting sport, I tell you what. I'm going to go over the general rules of this here slap fighting. I don't really understand why somebody wants to slap somebody for sport, but here we go. They call where they stand a counter, as if, when your wife slaps you at the counter for saying, hey, you look pretty, but so does your cousin. That's what they call it, the counter. All right. The slap fight is judged by 3 judges, 2 to directly observe the slapping and 1 to analyze the replays. Each competitor must wear a mouth guard and an ear protection. I don't know what kind of ear protection you need, but boy, I wish I had a mouth guard when my wife slapped me. There are 3 rounds. Each participant gets 1 hit. Okay? Each person must bring their own support system, as in a person to hold them up if they were to be knocked down or knocked silly. Before impact, the player rubs talcum powder on their hands. So you see the dust fly like LeBron James.
Or like, what was it, Wayne Gretzky on his hockey stick?
Hey, don't interrupt me. I'm doing my thing here. I'm giving you pearls here.
Pearls.
All right. The judge makes the final decision if there's not a knockout or TKO, and it is an irrevocable decision. This is how you win a slap fight here, Muff. A knockout. Okay. And that's if you cannot resume within 30 seconds. You get a 30 seconds to come back from a slap. A TKO. That's if you or your support system deems that you cannot come back from an injury. You can win by points or win by disqualification. Okay. How do you get disqualified? If you hit in a forbidden area. Now, unlike
we talked about those earlier.
Yeah.
right. Unlike at home, they actually spell out the forbidden areas here in the rule book. The temple, the eye socket, the nose, the ear, and the larynx. You hear that, Betty? You can't hear it in the larynx. Okay? All right. So, this is what you cannot do. You can't stand back. You can't lean back to avoid the blow. You can't turn your head. You can't cover yourself. It is also forbidden to raise your shoulders or cover your chin. Okay? Don't do that. There's also some forbidden things you cannot do. You cannot rub lubricant on your face. Can't put in that Vaseline, KY jelly, baby oil on your face. Okay? At the moment when a participant is preparing to go to the stage for a duel, it is forbidden to go to the toilet and locker room. You gotta be ready, rip roaring, ready to go get slapped. It is forbidden to hit. It is forbidden to apply intoxicants. I'm not really sure what that means.
Chloroform?
Maybe on your hand. It is forbidden to be under the influence of alcohol, intoxicants, stimulants, or other substances. I would like to know if they're drug testing for these slap fights. Logan Paul ran these, so who knows? Do you guys have any questions about slap fighting?
I'm just thinking about how hard it would be to just stand there and take it.
Well, let me tell you what, you're not married yet. You'll learn. It's not that hard.
I think you need to work on your relationship too, by the way, Randy.
Well, don't judge me, all right?
Okay.
Now, let me tell you what. I also came up with an air taco recipe that I'm going to put out there on the old social media. Bernard gave me the password. She all social media, so I'm going to put out a taco recipe from the air fryer. Be on the lookout for that. So I hope you like your tacos, because you need something to watch while you're doing the slap fight.
Thanks, Randy.
You're
That
welcome.
was enlightening. It really was. Did not realize it was that the slap fighting had so many rules.
You know what? I wish there were more rules to slap fighting nationwide. It's not like West Virginia where there's only rules on Sunday on the courthouse steps, you know?
Slap fight any other day.
I'm interested. I'm just, they have a replay official in slap fighting.
Oh, yeah.
And yet the NFL had to wait 30 some years to make that happen. Slap fighting has it. So what's Randy's task next week, Jim?
Next week, I'm going to have him find another obscure sport, and I want the best air frying dessert. You okay with that, Randy? Oh, daggum, I got a good air fryer dessert recipe, I tell you what. Now, what kind of a obscure sport are you down there looking for? It's up to you, Randy. I tell you what, there might be one with some cabbage and a pig. Whoa. I said sport. Oh, okay. All right. I'll get you a sport. Thanks, Randy.
Muff?
Kev's task next week is to go to the North Carolina Sweet 16 matchup and try to get a photo with at least one of the players or head coach Hubert Davis.
Next week, I've set him back on a special mission, since it seems to have fallen into the middle ground between all of us. He is going to go this week, and he is going to catch us up on the women's NCAA basketball tournament. Get us a couple big headlines, couple good stories going on there, and come back. I did warn him. He is to do recon on basketball topics only. He has recently been on a single and ready to mingle kick. I reminded him that he's a 40-year-old guy obsessed with weather and fun facts, so focus on basketball.
This is dumb intern tasks. Do 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 do.
This is Quick Thoughts.
Hello, everyone. Welcome back to Quick Thoughts. This is your moderator, Alex. This week, we have a few topics to cover. We will start in the college football realm. That's exciting. We haven't talked about college football in a little while. So, Michigan. Jim, Michigan. This is good news for them. Michigan hires their first female graduate assistant at a Big Ten football program. They have hired Malone Mimi Bowden Morris, who recently finished her basketball career at Georgetown and will now be serving as a graduate assistant working with the Michigan Wolverines quarterbacks. She is the sister of Michigan senior defensive end Mike Morris, and her new job is set to begin on June 1st. Any thoughts on that, Jim?
Good for them. I'm glad that they stepped into that and got their first female graduate assistant in the Big Ten. I've yet to find her qualifications for the job. Alex and I, we spoke about that before the show.
We did.
But I'm glad they did it. She must be qualified. That's why they hired her. Although they hired Harbaugh and I haven't figured out his qualifications. So, whatever.
Muff, thoughts?
I think this was a self-serving quick thoughts item, question, discussion.
I just came up with that. Get off my back.
For Jim to call into question hiring practices at the University of Michigan. I mean, it's good to see this. Somebody's got to be the first one to do this in a Big Ten football program, and whoever it was going to be a positive step forward. So, kudos to Michigan.
Another NCAA football topic. Deion Sanders had missed 3 games while hospitalized. Details of the procedure weren't made public at that time. On Tuesday, he revealed in a teaser for his web series Coach Prime that surgeons amputated his big toe and second toe on the left foot after he was hospitalized for blood clots stemming from a previous operation. This condition almost took his leg and his life. Thoughts, Muff?
Myself included, people were, making some quips and some jabs at Deion for his scooter, his motorcycle scooter that he came on the field for some games. I did not realize, I don't know if anybody aside from those in the know realized that there was something larger at play going on here. So good to hear that is the only outcome of this. Losing a couple toes as opposed to losing his whole leg or being in danger of losing his life.
Jim, anything?
Yeah, I think that the scooter thing was kind of a joke. Like, it was all ha-ha. And to realize it was this bad, I would like to know, and this is just the voyeur in me, I would like to know what the other surgery was that caused the blood clots.
Medical degenerate Alex here stepping in. It really probably doesn't matter what the surgery is. You can get blood clots from any surgery because
I agree, yeah. But my question is, like, Deion's not
he could have had a hernia repaired. And just because
right. I want to know what it is.
Oh, okay, I got you. I thought you were like, it's probably sports hernia or something weird like that. Would be my guess.
I just want to know.
Or maybe his gallbladder went bad. Here's appendix.
Maybe it was a nose job.
Nose job would be a weird one for blood.
Maybe it was a tummy tuck.
That's definitely it.
No, I mean, it could be anything. I just want to know. I want to know.
Oh, okay. Got you. I thought you were asking like medically, like if there was a reason for the blood clot.
No.
Okay.
I appreciate you're willing to step in though.
Yeah, I jumped in there.
Thank you.
You're welcome anytime. Let's move on to the NBA. In the NBA, LeBron James has passed Karl Malone and is now second on the all-time scoring list. Jim?
We knew this was going to happen. Like, this is like a footnote in the annals of time. Like, this, he's going to get some more in there. As long as he's playing, he's going to break records because he is who he is, and the game is the way it is, and how he plays. And good job, LeBron. And that's about all I got.
Muff,
How many years has he been in the league at this point?
Well,
20.
he's a year older than
16?
us.
16, 17 years.
No,
Sounds
gotta be
about
more
right.
than that.
More than that. I think it's like 22 or 23 years.
Possible.
I
He
made
went
that
in
up.
at
He was-
18.
I made that up. It was not 22 or 23 years.
He went
I
in
think
at
I-
18, and he's
So
he's a year older than us, Muff.
So he's this is 18 or 19, one of those 2 years.
Yeah, okay.
Okay. I
Where
was
did
looking. Karl Malone played for 19 years in the NBA.
Uh-huh.
And if this is year 19, I would have expected him to pass Karl Malone a little bit quicker. That being said, this is a monumental achievement. Yeah, at this point, he's getting a lot more of those longevity awards that are just going to naturally happen the longer you play at a high level, which is really what this comes down to. He's continuing to play at a high level. So good for LeBron.
19 years, by the way.
Yeah, there we go.
All right. Brooklyn Nets star Kevin Durant was fined $25,000 for directing obscene language towards a fan, the NBA announced on Friday. A social media video of the incident shows a fan near the baseline telling Durant, "You got to take this game over," in the waning seconds of the Nets' 113 to 111 loss. Durant responded, "You got to shut the f- up and sit down." Thoughts, Muff?
I feel like something else had to be going on in this game aside from just this. This seems like a little bit of an unnecessary NBA 2 fan comment. I was more interested in the Russell Westbrook coming pretty much at a fan who was calling him LeBrick, and asked the fan what that fan said, and the fan quickly recanted and was like, nothing. That to me was funnier than this whole situation. This just seems like Kevin Durant. There are times he has said things I'm like, yeah, you should probably, I'm cool with that. This seems a little bit unnecessary, so I'm cool with the fine here.
Jim?
I don't think he should get fined. He's a human. In the age of social media, I understand he has to be aware of his surroundings. He's playing the game. That fan wanted interaction. He got interaction. It is what it is. If it's because, there are kids in the audience, it's a basketball game.
Well, and I'm sure that people couldn't really probably even hear him. You know what I mean?
When you hear the video, you clear as
Really?
day can hear him.
Really?
Yeah.
Does the NBA tout a G or PG related product?
I think so. I think to a large degree, yes.
Well, then there's a reason to be fined right there, if anything.
I
All right,
understand that, but okay.
Moving on to the NHL. After celebrating 1,000 games with the Philadelphia Flyers earlier in the week, Claude Giroux has been dealt to the Florida Panthers. Philly gets Owen Tippett, a 2023 and 2024 pick. Florida gets Giroux and 2 other players and a draft pick. Any thoughts on this all, Jim?
I understand the business end of this, and it's a heck of a deal for everybody involved. Philly's trying to make a run. I just think it's kind of shitty for Claude. Hey, 1,000 games. See ya. I feel bad for him in that regard. I feel bad for Philly fans, even though they are probably getting the better end of the stick. I'm sure there are a lot of fans with jerseys there. They're like, ah.
Muff, thoughts?
That's hockey talk, baby. Business is business.
Yep.
I can't say anything nice about Philly, so we'll just move on. Saka. A fan used an intense zip tie to leash himself to a goalpost during an Everton and Newcastle match last weekend, and Tottenham staff stopped 2 people from doing the same thing on Sunday. Do the English just need to do this better? Muff, give us some thoughts.
I think they are doing it better. They're getting onto the field and zip tying themselves. Here in the United States, we just have naked people running around the field.
But I feel like all you have to do is go out with a pair of scissors and cut it off. And they're already
They were
standing there, so you
using
can handcuff
this.
them.
This was in. I want to say it was a zip tie, but I want to say this may have been a little bit more than a zip tie because they had bolt cutters out there to get this thing off of there.
Didn't it was something to do with some kind of policy. I don't know. Jim,
I got nothing for this one other than like, good for you for the dedication.
I mean, it was like around their neck, and it was a protesting thing. I'm trying to remember. It had something to do with like environmental gas policy.
It was like oil and gas type stuff. Yeah.
Yeah. Under the shirt read "Just Stop Oil." Fans threw trash at the post protester for delay. So you go out and thinking like this is going to rally all the people, and they just throw trash at you because you delayed their sporting event.
I mean, I saw pictures of it. He was steadfast in his message and his mission, and good on him. But
I just think the English protest better. That's all I'm going to say. They do protest at sporting events better.
yeah.
All right. And that wraps up our topics for quick thoughts this week. I'm really proud of us. I think we kept that as pretty much quick thoughts. I'd like to award a couple points here. I'll give my first point out to Jim for being able to see the positive in the Michigan topic.
Thank you.
I was very proud of him. That takes a big man. I know you don't like him. Good job. I gave a +1 to Muff for realizing the severity of Coach Prime's ailments and taking back his jest at the scooter. And my final point, and the tiebreaker, was given to Jim because I like that he supported the guy standing steadfast. First of all, he used the word steadfast, and I liked that about the guy who zip tied himself to a pole. I think that was a topic that we were all looking past, was his dedication to a cause. Agree or disagree?
I'll take the win.
If you don't
Thank
stand for something, you'll fall for anything, folks. And that wraps up this week's Quick Thoughts.
Oh, Muddy Muffnack, seer of things, beer of things, gambler, I call upon you for the off-season questions.
Yes.
A little late on the delivery, Muffnack, but thank you for arriving.
Yes.
Almighty Muffnack, I have questions for you, sir. Are you prepared?
It's been a long weekend, but here I am. I'm here, ready to answer your questions, James.
Are you up or down in the madness, sir?
Muffnack is even.
Well done. I need you to shine up the crystal ball, Muffnack, as I ask NFL questions.
Ooh.
Okay. Who will be the biggest winner in the NFL offseason?
The NFL offseason has been interesting. There have been clear winners and losers. Cleveland still sucks. But the winners now and next year will be the Las Vegas Raiders.
Who will be the quarterback of the Steelers?
Steelers have signed Mitch Trubisky with hopes that he will be what he was supposed to be. Mitch Trubisky, QB1 in Pittsburgh.
Who will the Chargers benefit from these offseason changes?
Khalil Mack was moved to the Chargers. Muffnack thinks this will be good for half the season and Khalil Mack will go down with an injury. And this will be the detriment of the Chargers next year. Khalil Mack signing will hurt them.
Where will Baker Mayfield land?
Baker Mayfield will land with an insurance agency, doing commercials while also playing a character role for the Carolina Panthers.
Is there any hopes that he'll land in Pittsburgh?
Pittsburgh would never allow Baker Mayfield to go there.
What position will go first in the NFL draft?
It will be a defensive position. I see a defensive end.
And what quarterback will be the first to be drafted in the NFL draft?
this year, nobody's thinking too much about the quarterbacks, as everyone is looking towards the current quarterbacks. But I see in my crystal ball Lady Liberty and her flames burning strong. Malik Willis will be the first quarterback taken from Liberty. Liberty. Liberty.
Thank you, Muffnack. That is all for Muffnack. We'll send him on his last show away. Muff, please return.
Woo!
That was my first experience with Muffnack in the flesh, and I will never be the same.
No. He kind of takes over Muff's body. Muff is more of a transcendent being in that moment.
Like the eyes, I mean, just like kind of roll.
Yeah, it's a whole thing.
Wow.
So, as we wrap up the show,
I've returned.
as we wrap up the show, Muff, take us home.
As always, remember to follow us at Sports Jim Muff on Instagram and Twitter, Sports Stuff W/Jim & Muff on Facebook. Get on the YouTube, subscribe, like, rate, review, all of the things. Keep up with the madness. Betting episode this week. Betting episode this week.
Ka-chow!
And as always, go forth, prosper. Get with your buddies. Get with your family. Get with the other people in your lives. And tell a friend. Make a friend. Be
Be
friend.